Most people have never heard of the best kept secret in personal finance. It's called a health savings account or an HSA, and it might be one of the most powerful financial tools available to regular people today like you and I. Today I'm going to show you why HSAs are not just about savings for doctor's visits, but how they can become one of the most effective ways to build wealth, reduce taxes, and even create a backup retirement plan. This is one of the few strategies that almost feels unfair once you fully understand it and take it in. A health savings account is a special account designed to help you pay for healthcare expenses. To qualify, you must be enrolled in what's called a high deductible health plan or an HDHP. Now these are insurance plans that have higher out-of-pocket costs, higher deductible, but they allow you to open an HSA. Now, if you're unsure whether or not your insurance qualifies with your current plan, you can ask your HR, your people department, or look for terms like HD, HP, or qualified on your insurance documents. It's worth checking because this one detail could open the door to a huge amount of financial opportunity. And it's important to know that not every high deductible plan will automatically qualify. Some plans might have deductibles that are high enough that they seem eligible, but they have disqualifying features like low out-of-pocket maximums or bundle first dollar coverage, Always double check, because missing this eligibility means missing the chance to fund an HSA for the entire year. Now, if you're thinking, great, another savings account, you're missing the big picture here. An HSA isn't just any savings account. It's a triple tax advantage powerhouse. And that means you get 3 different tax breaks from one single account, something that's incredibly rare. This is the only one I know of. First, any money you put in your HSA isn't taxed. It lowers your taxable income, which means you owe less money when tax season rolls around. Second, you take money out of your HSA for qualified medical expenses. That withdrawal is also tax-free. Third, while your money sits inside the HSA, it can grow through investments, completely tax-free. Now think about how rare that is. Most retirement accounts only give you 2 of the 3 tax advantages, if you're lucky. A 401k gives you tax-free contributions and tax-deferred growth, but you pay taxes when you pull the money out. A Roth IRA gives you tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals, but you have to put in money that's after-tax dollars. An HSA gives you everything. No taxes in, no taxes while it grows, and no taxes when you pull the money out for qualified expenses. It's like the Swiss Army knife of personal finance. And yet, most people aren't using it that way. Surveys show that the majority of HSA account holders never invest their funds. They treat it like a glorified checking account or savings account for doctor's visits. By doing that, they're leaving potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table over their lifetime. However, just having an HSA isn't enough. To really unlock the true power of an HSA, you need to know how to use it correctly. You can't just put money in and let it sit there. Most people treat their HSA like a simple savings account for medical bills. And, well, that's fine. It barely scratches the surface of what the account can actually do for you. So let me show you 4 simple hacks that can turn ordinary HSA into a financial weapon. Hack number 1 is to invest your HSA money. And this is the most important hack and the one that most people overlook or don't even know about. Far too many people let their HSA dollars just sit in cash, earning almost nothing, maybe 1% if they're lucky. Most HSA providers only offer basic savings accounts that pay a fraction of a percent. Meanwhile, inflation is chewing away at the value of those dollars every single year. Instead of letting your HSA stagnate, you can invest the funds in mutual funds, ETFs, or even target date funds, depending on what your HSA provider has to offer. And here's why that matters. Imagine you're contributing the maximum family amount every single year and just letting it sit in cash. After 30 years, you'd probably have about $370,000 saved up. That sounds impressive, right? But if you invested the same money and earned a modest 7% average return, you could end up with around $900,000 instead. And that's over $500,000 more just by making better decisions on day one. And it's the difference between a comfortable retirement and a wealthy one. And here's a bonus. Once you turn 55, you're allowed to contribute an extra $1,000 each year to your HSA on top of the regular limit, a lot like a 401k or IRA. And these are called catch-up contributions, and they can make a massive difference over time. That extra $1,000 invested for even just 10 years, it could add tens of thousands of dollars to your final balance. Some HSA providers require you to keep a minimum cash balance before you can invest. I think mine requires about $1,000. So make sure you read the fine print. If your administrator requires $1,000 or $2,000 to stay in cash, treat that as a necessary evil. but invest the rest as aggressively as your personal situation allows. Everyone's risk appetite is different. Hack number 2 is to avoid using your HSA to pay for medical expenses today. If you have the ability to pay those bills out of pocket, just do it. And this may seem super counterintuitive at first, but it's one of the smartest strategies out there. Every time you pull money out of your HSA, you're removing money that could be compounding tax-free for decades. Let's walk through a simple example. Imagine you have a $2,000 medical bill this year. If you pull from your HSA to pay for that, that money's gone. And so is the opportunity for it to grow. But if you pay that bill from your checking account, leave that $2,000 invested and grow at 7% annually for 30 years, that single bill could have turned into over $15,000. Now multiply that by every year and every healthcare expense that you cover out of pocket, and you begin to see how much wealth that you could be building silently in the background. In fact, if you pay out of pocket for small to medium-sized healthcare expenses during your working years and let your HSA investments grow untouched, you can turn your HSA into a massive healthcare safety net for retirement, when your healthcare costs often spike to the highest, when you get older. Of course, real life is messy and emergencies happen and cash flow can get tight. Now, if you need to use your HSA for expenses now, do it. That's what it's there for. But whenever possible, prioritize paying out of pocket. Letting your HSA investments just keep working for you in the background. Hack number 3 is to keep track of every single medical expense that you do pay out of pocket, because you can reimburse yourself years later. And this is where the real magic starts. As long as the expenses happened after you opened your HSA and you have proof of payment, such as receipts, you can pull that money out tax-free at any point in the future. No expiration date. Picture it like setting up a hidden tax-free piggy bank that you can tap into decades later. Imagine paying $60,000 worth of healthcare bills out of pocket over 30 years and letting your HSA balance grow untouched. Then, when you're retired and perhaps need some tax-free income, you can pull the $60,000 out then tax-free. Meanwhile, your remaining invested balance keeps growing and working for you. Just make sure to save receipts and some sort of evidence, statements, and proof of payment. You don't want to get caught in an audit without all of your paperwork in order and have the government ream you over the coals. But a simple folder, or spreadsheet, or even cloud storage can make this pretty easy to manage over time. It's not too difficult. Some even use apps or scanning software to kind of keep everything really organized digitally, and that's pretty nice, but you don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to be consistent. 5 minutes a month could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars later in life. Hack number 4 is understanding what happens when you turn 65. At 65, your HSA becomes even more flexible. You can start using it for almost anything you want. If you use it for non-medical expenses, you'll pay regular income taxes, just like a 401k or a traditional IRA withdrawal, but there won't be any penalty outside of that. If you still use it for medical expenses, the withdrawals remain completely tax-free. This opens up massive options. You can use your HSA to pay for Medicare premiums, prescriptions, dental work, vision care, hearing aids, a walker. The only thing you can't use it for is Medigap supplemental insurance premiums, so most things work. Other than that, it's fair game. And this is crucial. Once you enroll in any part of Medicare, even just Part A, you can no longer contribute to an HSA, not $1 more. And many people get caught off guard by this because Medicare enrollment can be backdated by 6 months. So you need to stop contributing the month before your Medicare coverage starts, not months before your birthday. If you're delaying Medicare because you're still working and you're keeping your employer coverage, make sure you plan very, very carefully. If you apply for Medicare at 67, for example, your Part A coverage could be backdated 6 months, making your last eligible HSA contribution months earlier than you might have expected. And you can't cheat the system by trying to front load a full year's worth of HSA contributions earlier. If you only have 3 months left before your Medicare coverage starts, you're only allowed to contribute 3/12 of the annual limit. And the bottom line is simple. Plan ahead, time your contributions very carefully, and know when you need to stop. It's not really that complicated. And once you understand these 4 hacks, you realize that an HSA isn't just for covering doctor's visits or prescriptions. It's not just a medical piggy bank. It can be one of the most powerful tools that you have to build tax-free wealth, lower your taxable income, and to create a massive buffer for retirement expenses. It's not just about saving a few dollars on tax day. It's about setting yourself up with an enormous amount of financial flexibility tomorrow. Whether you want a tax-free slush fund in retirement, a healthcare emergency fund, or simply a larger safety net for your family. A properly managed HSA can be key. And if you don't have an HSA yet, it's absolutely worth looking into whether you qualify or not. If you already have one and it's just sitting there in cash, now you know exactly how to turn it into a financial growth machine. Get the money invested. A few simple strategies today can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars of extra money in your future. And this is the kind of advantage that the wealthy use every day. Now you know it too. Now what you do next, that's up to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. It means so much to me. Leave a comment below telling me what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.